Leaked intelligence, CIA unveils 15 key points supporting COVID-19 lab leak theory. Date, January 26, 2025. Author, your name. Summary: the CIA has publicly shifted its stance regarding the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic, suggesting that a lab leak is more likely than a natural source, albeit with low confidence in this conclusion. This assessment aligns with previous findings from the FBI and the Department of Energy, igniting political discussions about accountability for the pandemic. Introduction. The origins of the COVID-19 virus have been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate since the pandemic began in early 2020. With theories ranging from zoonotic transmission to a lab leak, the discourse has evolved, particularly with recent intelligence assessments. On January 26, 2025, the CIA released an assessment suggesting that a lab leak is the most plausible explanation for the emergence of COVID-19. Although it accompanied this conclusion with a caveat of low confidence. This report has significant implications for international relations, particularly regarding the United States' stance towards China. Key findings. 1. Support for lab leak theory. The CIA's assessment indicates that the agency believes a research-related origin of the pandemic is more likely than a natural origin. This conclusion reflects a growing consensus among some U.S. intelligence agencies, including the FBI and the Department of Energy. 2. Low confidence rating. Despite suggesting a lab-related origin, the CIA explicitly states that its confidence in this conclusion is low. The evidence supporting this theory is characterized as deficient, inconclusive, or contradictory, indicating that definitive conclusions about the virus's origins remain elusive. 3. Context of the assessment. The release of this assessment marks a notable shift in the CIA's position, which previously maintained that both natural and lab-related origins remained plausible. Under new CIA Director John Ratcliffe, the agency has taken a more assertive stance on the issue. For political implications, the announcement has stirred political reactions, particularly from Republican lawmakers who have long advocated for accountability from China regarding the pandemic. Senator Tom Cotton expressed satisfaction with the findings, emphasizing the need for China to face repercussions for its role in the outbreak. Perspectives from various sources. BBC. The BBC highlighted the lack of new intelligence underpinning the CIA's assessment, emphasizing the ongoing debate over the virus's origins and the absence of a consensus within the scientific community. The Guardian. This outlet focused on the nuanced nature of the CIA's finding, noting that the agency continues to consider both research-related and natural origin scenarios as plausible. The article also discussed the political ramifications of the assessment. Bangkok Post. The Bangkok Post reported on the broader implications of the CIA's shift, noting that the agency's conclusions align with those of other U.S. intelligence agencies, while also acknowledging the lack of cooperation from Chinese authorities in the investigation of the virus's origins. Timeline of events. Early 2020. The COVID-19 outbreak begins with early cases linked to the Huanan wet market in Wuhan. Late 2020, early 2021, various theories emerge regarding the virus's origins, with debates surrounding natural zoonotic transmission and potential laboratory leaks. January 2025, the CIA, under the direction of John Ratcliffe, publicly asserts that a lab leak is more plausible than natural origins based on existing reports, albeit with a low confidence rating. Analysis and implications. The CIA's latest assessment on the origins of COVID-19 reflects a significant shift in the U.S. intelligence community's approach to understanding the pandemic. This development is particularly timely given the ongoing global struggle with the pandemic's effects and the call for accountability from China. The low confidence rating assigned to the agency's conclusion underscores the complexity of establishing a definitive origin for the virus. The lack of new intelligence further complicates matters, suggesting that the debate may continue without clear resolution. The political ramifications are also noteworthy, as the announcement has reinvigorated calls among U.S. lawmakers for accountability from China. The discourse around the lab leak theory has evolved from a fringe hypothesis to a more mainstream discussion, reflecting shifting public and political sentiment. Conclusion: the CIA's assessment that a lab leak is more likely than a natural origin for COVID-19, while qualifying this with a low confidence rating, highlights the ongoing complexity and contentiousness surrounding the virus's origins. As political discussions heat up and the quest for accountability continues, the implications of this assessment will resonate across international relations, scientific inquiry, and public health policy. This evolving narrative is a reminder of the interconnectedness of science, politics, and global health, and it reinforces the importance of transparent and cooperative investigations into the origins of pandemics to prevent future crises. The CIA's commitment to evaluating new information suggests that the inquiry into COVID-19's origins is far from over, and the quest for clarity will remain a priority for the intelligence community and policymakers alike. References: 1. BBC News. 2025, CIA says lab leak most likely source of COVID outbreak. Retrieved from BBC. https://www.bbc.com/news/articles/cd9qjjj4zy50. 2. The Guardian. 2025, CIA now backs lab leak theory to explain origins of COVID-19. Retrieved from The Guardian www.theguardian.com/society/2025/Jan/26/CIA now backs lab leak theory to explain origins of COVID-19. 3. Bangkok Post. 2025, lab leak more likely, CIA shifts view on COVID-19 origin. Retrieved from Bangkok Post www.bangkokpost.com/world/2947850/lab leak more likely, CIA shifts view on COVID-19 origin. The leaked intelligence from the CIA regarding the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic presents several counterintuitive points that challenge widely held beliefs and assumptions about the nature of the virus and its emergence. Here are the key counterintuitive aspects identified in the content. 1. Shift from previous neutrality. The CIA's assessment marks a notable shift from its previous neutral stance, where both natural and lab-related origins were deemed plausible. The change in position to favor the lab leak theory is surprising considering the agency's earlier reluctance to take a definitive side. This shift reflects a growing consensus among various intelligence agencies but contrasts with earlier hesitance to directly implicate a laboratory source. 2. Low confidence despite stronger allegations. Although the CIA now suggests that a lab leak is more likely, it does so with a low confidence rating, indicating that the evidence is still largely inconclusive or contradictory. This juxtaposition raises questions about the reliability of intelligence assessments and suggests that even when agencies lean towards a particular theory, they may lack the solid evidence typically expected in such determinations. 3. Political timing and influence. The release of the CIA's assessment coincides with a politically charged environment, particularly with the new appointment of CIA Director John Ratcliffe, who has openly favored the lab leak theory. This timing raises concerns about whether political motivations are influencing intelligence assessments, as the agency had previously been more cautious and neutral in its evaluations. The implication that political pressure can shape intelligence conclusions is a significant and counterintuitive revelation. For evidence basis, the CIA's conclusion was not based on new intelligence but rather a reassessment of existing reports. This suggests that the agency's stance has changed not due to new discoveries but possibly due to evolving narratives or pressures from various stakeholders, including lawmakers and political figures. It challenges the assumption that intelligence agencies operate purely on objective findings rather than being influenced by external political contexts. 5. Diverse agency perspectives. The CIA's alignment with the FBI and Department of Energy on the lab leak theory contrasts with other U.S. agencies that continue to support the natural origin theory. This divergence highlights the complexity and ambiguity surrounding the origins of COVID-19, suggesting that even within the intelligence community there is no clear consensus. The existence of conflicting views among agencies raises questions about the reliability of intelligence and the processes through which such conclusions are drawn. 6. Global accountability, the call from U.S. lawmakers, especially Republican figures for accountability from China, suggests a shift towards viewing the pandemic not just as a health crisis but also a geopolitical one. This perspective challenges the notion that the pandemic is solely a health issue, instead framing it within the context of international relations and accountability, which may not align with the public's understanding of health crises as primarily scientific matters. 7. Enduring uncertainty. Despite the CIA's new stance, it is clear that the origins of COVID-19 may never be definitively resolved due to a lack of cooperation from Chinese authorities. This uncertainty seems to contradict the expectation that intelligence agencies can provide clear answers to pressing global issues, suggesting limitations in their capabilities, especially when political and diplomatic barriers exist. These counterintuitive points underscore the complexity of the narrative surrounding COVID-19's origins and highlight how intelligence assessments can be influenced by political contexts, the reliability of evidence, and the diverse perspectives within the intelligence community. The CIA's recent assessment that the COVID-19 pandemic likely originated from a lab leak in Wuhan, China, rather than from a natural source has reignited a contentious debate about the virus's origins. While the mainstream media narratives often focus on the implications of this assessment and the ongoing geopolitical tensions with China, there are several crucial aspects of this report that may be overlooked which warrant further consideration. 1. Low confidence rating and its implications. The CIA's conclusion comes with a low confidence rating, which is significant because it highlights the ambiguity and uncertainty surrounding the evidence. This suggests that while the agency leans towards the lab leak theory, the information available does not provide a solid basis for definitive claims. The significance of this point cannot be overstated. It implies that the understanding of the virus's origins remains incomplete, and any policy or political action based on this assessment should be approached with caution. The low confidence level could also reflect internal divisions within the intelligence community, indicating that not all agencies are aligned in their conclusions about the virus's origins. 2. Political dynamics and leadership influence. The shift in the CIA's position correlates closely with the appointment of John Ratcliffe as CIA director, who has a history of advocating for the lab leak theory. This raises questions about how leadership changes can influence intelligence assessments and the politicization of scientific inquiries. Many analysts may overlook the extent to which political pressures can shape national security narratives, especially when it concerns accountability for global crises. The interplay between intelligence and politics could lead to a selective interpretation of data that aligns with prevailing political agendas. 3. Historical context of the lab leak theory. The lab leak theory was initially dismissed by many in the scientific community as conspiracy, but its resurgence in the intelligence community reflects a broader shift in the perception of scientific inquiry related to COVID-19. This historical context is significant because it highlights the evolving nature of scientific consensus and the importance of remaining open to various hypotheses. The initial dismissal of the lab leak theory could serve as a cautionary tale about how biases can hinder scientific understanding and delay critical investigations. 4. Consequences for international relations. The CIA's assessment could have far-reaching implications for U.S. China relations. While many commentators have focused on calls for accountability from China, the potential for diplomatic fallout has been largely overlooked. A renewed focus on the lab leak theory may exacerbate tensions and lead to retaliatory measures from China, complicating international cooperation on public health initiatives and other global challenges. The significance lies in understanding that the pursuit of accountability must be balanced with the need for diplomatic engagement, particularly in addressing future pandemics. 5. Impact on public health policy and preparedness. The debate over the origins of COVID-19 has profound implications for future public health policy and pandemic preparedness. If the lab leak theory gains traction, it could lead to increased scrutiny of laboratory safety protocols and the regulation of gain-of-function research. However, the focus on the origins of the virus should not detract from the need to enhance global health infrastructure and surveillance systems, which are crucial for preventing future pandemics. The risk here is that political narratives may overshadow scientific and public health imperatives, potentially stalling progress on essential reforms. 6. The role of intelligence agencies in scientific discourse. The CIA's involvement in assessing the origins of COVID-19 raises significant questions about the role of intelligence agencies in scientific inquiry. While intelligence agencies are equipped to analyze a wide range of information, the challenge lies in ensuring that their assessments are informed by rigorous scientific standards rather than political motivations. This aspect is often overlooked in discussions about the origins of COVID-19, but it is crucial for fostering a more integrated approach to science and intelligence that respects the methodologies of both fields. 7. Global scientific collaboration challenges. The CIA's assessment emphasizes the lack of cooperation from Chinese authorities, which has hindered efforts to uncover the virus's origins. This situation underscores the broader challenges facing global scientific collaboration, particularly in politically charged environments. The significance of this point lies in recognizing that effective responses to pandemics require transparency and cooperation among nations. The potential fallout from this assessment could jeopardize future collaborative efforts in virology and infectious disease research, which are essential for global health security. Conclusion. The CIA's assessment regarding the origins of COVID-19 is not just a matter of scientific inquiry, it is intertwined with political dynamics, international relations, public health policy, and the broader role of intelligence in shaping public discourse. Understanding the nuances and implications of this report is essential for fostering informed discussions about the pandemic's origins and preparing for future global health challenges. These overlooked aspects highlight the complexity of the situation and the need for a holistic approach to understanding and addressing the multifaceted issues surrounding COVID-19. 1. Shift in intelligence assessment. The CIA's recent evaluation marks a significant shift in their stance regarding the origins of COVID-19. Previously, the agency maintained that both natural and laboratory origins were plausible. However, the new assessment suggests that a lab leak is now deemed more likely. This change aligns the CIA with other intelligence agencies like the FBI and the Department of Energy, which have similarly indicated a lab-related origin. Discussing this shift involves analyzing the implications of intelligence agencies converging on a particular theory, especially in the context of geopolitical tensions with China. 2. Low confidence and inconclusive evidence. The CIA's assessment is characterized by a low confidence rating, indicating that while the lab leak theory is considered more plausible, the evidence supporting this conclusion is still seen as deficient or contradictory. This raises important questions about the nature of intelligence assessments, the weight of evidence in forming conclusions, and the challenges of establishing a definitive origin for the virus. Engaging in dialogue about the scientific rigor behind intelligence assessments and how they balance political pressures versus empirical data could be particularly enlightening. 3. Political ramifications and accountability. The announcement has sparked renewed political discourse, particularly around accountability for China regarding the pandemic. Figures like Senator Tom Cotton have emphasized the need for China to be held responsible, framing the lab leak theory as a matter of international accountability. This point invites discussion on the intersection of science, politics, and international relations, how the narratives about the origins of the virus can influence diplomatic relations and domestic policies, as well as the ethical implications of assigning blame in the absence of conclusive evidence. For impact of leadership on intelligence findings, the assessment was released under the direction of newly appointed CIA Director John Ratcliffe, who has been vocal about adopting a more assertive stance regarding the origins of COVID-19. This aspect highlights how leadership and individual perspectives within intelligence agencies can shape and influence public narratives. Analyzing the role of leadership in intelligence assessments, especially in politically charged contexts like the COVID-19 origins debate, opens up discussions about the implications for future assessments and the integrity of intelligence processes. 1. The Dreyfus Affair 1894–1906. This was a political scandal in France centered around the wrongful conviction of Captain Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish officer in the French army, for treason. The case was marked by anti-Semitism and a miscarriage of justice, as it was later revealed that evidence against Dreyfus was fabricated. The affair divided French society and had significant political implications, leading to debates about the integrity of the military and the judiciary, as well as issues of national identity and rights. 2. The Pentagon Papers 1971. This was a top-secret Department of Defense study that detailed the United States' political and military involvement in Vietnam from 1945 to 1967. When Daniel Ellsberg leaked the documents to the press, they revealed that the government had misled the public and Congress about the war's progress and objectives. The leak led to a significant public outcry, legal battles, and a re-evaluation of U.S. foreign policy, ultimately contributing to a decline in public trust in the government. 3. Watergate Scandal 1972–1974. This political scandal involved a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office complex and the subsequent cover-up by members of the Nixon administration. Investigative reporting uncovered a wide range of abuses of power by the administration, leading to a constitutional crisis. The scandal ultimately resulted in the resignation of President Richard Nixon and had lasting impacts on American politics, including reforms aimed at increasing transparency and accountability in government. Future outlook: predictions on the COVID-19 lab leak theory and its implications. The recent CIA assessment suggesting that the COVID-19 pandemic is more likely to have originated from a lab leak rather than a natural source marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing debate surrounding the origins of the virus. As we move forward, several key predictions can be made regarding the implications of this assessment and its potential impact on global health politics and scientific research. 1. Increased political tension between the U.S. and China. The renewed focus on the lab leak theory is poised to exacerbate tensions between the United States and China, as U.S. lawmakers, particularly from the Republican Party, push for accountability from China. We can expect diplomatic relations to further strain. This may lead to calls for sanctions or other punitive measures against China, especially if the narrative continues to gain traction among international audiences. Furthermore, the geopolitical landscape could shift as countries align themselves with either the U.S. or China based on their views of the pandemic's origins. 2. Heightened scrutiny on global health practices. In light of the CIA's findings, there will likely be an intensified examination of global health and laboratory practices. Institutions handling dangerous pathogens, especially in China, may face increased scrutiny and calls for transparency. This could lead to new international regulations governing laboratory safety and biosecurity to prevent future pandemics, potentially involving stricter oversight from organizations like the World Health Organization (WHO). 3. Scientific investigations and debates will continue. The scientific community will remain divided on the origins of COVID-19, with ongoing investigations likely to persist. As more data is analyzed and new studies emerge, researchers will continue to debate the plausibility of the lab leak versus natural origins. This discourse will not only focus on virology but could also extend to ethics in scientific research and the responsibilities of laboratories conducting high-risk research. 4. Long-term impact on public trust in science. The uncertainty surrounding the origins of COVID-19 may lead to long-lasting effects on public trust in scientific institutions. As misinformation and differing narratives circulate, segments of the population may become increasingly skeptical of scientific consensus. This could hinder public health initiatives. particularly vaccination campaigns or other health interventions deemed necessary by experts. 5. Evolution of pandemic preparedness strategies. The lab leak theory's acknowledgement could reshape how countries prepare for future pandemics. Governments may prioritize developing protocols for rapid response to outbreaks linked to laboratory accidents and enhance their focus on biosafety and bioethics in research. This could include investments in technology to monitor viral outbreaks more effectively and strengthen global health security. 6. Legal and ethical ramifications. As the lab leak theory gains traction, legal actions against relevant Chinese entities or researchers may emerge. Countries could pursue claims for damages related to the pandemic's economic and health impacts. Additionally, ethical discussions surrounding the responsibilities of scientists working with potentially dangerous pathogens are likely to come to the forefront, prompting calls for greater accountability and ethical guidelines in biosafety research. 7. Shift in global health policy. The implications of the CIA's assessment may catalyze a shift in global health policy. Countries may push for new agreements that emphasize transparency and cooperation in research related to pathogens and zoonotic diseases. This could lead to a more collaborative approach to public health, emphasizing shared responsibilities in preventing pandemics. 8. Influence on future research funding. Research funding dynamics may shift as institutions and governments reassess the focus on virology and infectious diseases. If the lab leak theory becomes widely accepted, there could be a push for increased funding for biosafety research, while alternative theories may receive less attention. This could reshape the landscape of scientific inquiry for years to come. Conclusion. As the narrative surrounding the origins of COVID-19 evolves, the implications of the CIA's assessment will resonate across multiple sectors, influencing international relations, scientific research, and public health policies. The path forward will likely be complex, shaped by political agendas, scientific discoveries, and the global community's response to the ongoing pandemic legacy. The quest for answers regarding the origins of COVID-19 will not only be pivotal in understanding this pandemic, but will also set the stage for how the world prepares for future health crises.